see. I have no expectations. Or they're pretty low, so I'll probably exceed them.
Well, good morning. We'll get beginning with our information session around the Inquire Graduate Certificate in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. My name is Clarke Mathany. I'm an educational developer here at Open Learning and Educational Support at the University of Guelph, and I'm also one of the instructors for the Inquire Certificate. This morning, the purpose of this information session is really just to give you a background around what is the certificate all about, who's it for, what are the opportunities that you would have as a learner within it, and what are some of the skills that you may gain if you participated. So we'll just roll through a few slides, and then you can always submit questions on the right-hand side of the screen to the audience Q&A. And then I can respond to those as we go. I should also let you know that this recording will be placed available on our website, so anyone can watch at any point in time prior to the application deadline. So what is Inquire? Inquire is a graduate certificate offered by the University of Guelph. So it's been through our Board of Graduate Studies and our Senate and is officially approved. It's a 0 credit certificate in that it wouldn't count towards your requirements for a master's or a PhD program, but it is a certificate at the graduate level. At the same time, it's been accredited through the Staff and Educational Development Association, which is a group out of the UK, which accredits educational development programs to ensure that they're of a particular quality. And more importantly, it's a hands-on intensive research experience where the participants get to gain skills within the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, to gain practical research opportunities, collaborate with colleagues, and to really get your hands-on experience within that field. So who is it for? The certificate is targeted at graduate students, so often it would accompany someone while you're doing your own graduate work within your home discipline. It would be developing skill sets in another area as you continue to develop your interest in teaching and learning and what's going on in particular classrooms. A target audience is certainly higher education professional staff. So we have, in our first cohort, we have a number of professional staff that are participating as they look to enhance their skill set as an employee of a higher education institution by developing skills into how they can research learners and their own instruction, and to have a greater impact on their own career. And it's also for instructors who may have not considered researching in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning before, but it's an opportunity to have that first experience, to do it in a cohort where you're going to have other students with you who are walking through their first solo projects together, and supported and mentored by an educational developer throughout that process. So really, it's for anyone interested in enhancing their ability to design, execute, or communicate ethical research within the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So for those of you who may be new to the term of the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, we just thought we'd include one quick slide to give an overview of what that is. And so it's defined as involving post-secondary practitioners, so it doesn't necessarily need to be faculty. It can be faculty, graduate students, staff, instructors, conducting inquiry into teaching and learning processes at higher education within higher education contexts. So that can be within the classroom, but it can also be in a variety of other contexts that exist in higher education and where the students are learning. McKinney describes the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning as involving a systemic study of teaching and/or learning and the public sharing and review of such work through presentations, performance, and publications. And the overall intention is to improve student learning and enhance educational quality. And so what you'll see within the design of the Inquire Institute is that we're looking at having that systemic study, having the research groups develop questions, study them intently, and then once they have their findings, disseminate them in the public in a variety of different ways and in the way that makes the most sense for their research and their research group. So what is the format of the certificate? There's 3 courses, and it's a cohort based, so anyone enrolled in the certificate must take all 3 courses sequentially within the same year, as you'll be working in a collaborative group conducting research. The first course is entitled Foundations and Frameworks in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, and it's about a 4-month course, and it begins in May with a 4-day face-to-face experience where the group gets the foundational skills that they need to be able to conduct the research throughout the year. And then the remainder of the certificate of that course is online, where the groups are setting the framework of their research, identifying their research question, and figuring out the ethical processes that they'll need to walk through in order to answer that question. The second course is really focused around effectively conducting the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So the first 13 weeks of that is all conducted online, and at the end we conclude the course with a 1-day synchronous research update that everyone can share where they're at with their research. And finally, in that third course, communicating findings in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, the first 13 weeks is focusing on where are the participants, where's that research suited to present at? Is it a teaching and learning conference at the University of Guelph? Is it somewhere else? Is it ready for manuscript? Is it a poster that you may present at? What's the best way to communicate your findings within the research? And then the conference ends with a 2-day, rather than a 4-day research presentation at the Teaching and Learning Conference at the University of Guelph. So again, that first course, the Foundation and Frameworks, you're looking at, as a learner, you'd be trying to identify and articulate your research question. You'd be completing a research ethics board application and developing your research proposals within that first course. Within the second course, as you conduct your Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, you're looking at following your research ethics board guidelines and setting up, collaborating with any faculty members or other instructors on campus whose courses you're supporting, or really conducting and following out the procedures that you set within your methodology, and then beginning your data analysis at that point in time as well. And then it wraps up with an update to the cohort. And finally, in communicating research findings, you're developing a conference proposal, you're identifying potential sources of dissemination beyond the Teaching and Learning Conference, which is the capstone experience of the certificate at the Teaching and Learning Innovations Conference here at the University of Guelph. You're going to consider where have you come throughout the certificate and what are your future directions for SOTA research, and you'll develop and deliver your conference presentation, ideally at the University of Guelph at our annual Teaching and Learning Conference, but there's certainly flexibility in terms of where that conference proposal is delivered, or that conference presentation, is delivered. Some important dates for you to consider as you're walking through your own idea whether you will apply for this certificate is to know that March 1st, 2016 is the deadline for the University of Guelph applicants. All University of Guelph applicants will be informed of any decisions by March 15th. Applications from those who are external to the University of Guelph are due April 1st, with those decisions communicated 10 days later. All payments for the certificate would be due April 29th. And those applying, we ask that you hold May 10th through 13th now, as those are the 4 days of the face-to-face Action Institute that kicks off the certificate. The remainder of the certificate is conducted online until the very end, but those are 4 days that are mandatory face-to-face. And so if you are interested, we ask that you very much hold those dates. And then the exact date of the Teaching and Learning Conference in April 2017 is yet to be determined, but it'll be generally around the end of April. Finally, for those of you considering cost, University of Guelph community members, there's a $100 deposit. It's refundable upon completion, as it's the mandate of the Open Ed program to support our own university community members within the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. If you're a non-University of Guelph graduate student, tuition is $885. And for non-University of Guelph non-graduate students, tuition is $1,785. If you have any questions, you are certainly welcome to post them to our chat now. Alternatively, You can send me an email at any point in time at cmathany@uoguelph.ca. Thanks for your interest in the Inquire certificate, and we hope to receive applications from many of you soon, and look forward to learning with you. Nobody. Well, welcome to our information session on Inquire, the graduate certificate in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning offered by Open Education and Open Learning and Educational Support here at the University of Guelph. My name is Clarke Mathany, and I'm an educational developer within OpenEd, and I'm excited to share with you more about this Inquire certificate and a great learning experience for someone interested in developing skills as a solo researcher. So what is Inquire? Inquire is a one-year graduate certificate offered here by our Educational Development Unit. And so it is a graduate certificate, and that has been through the process of going through our Senate and approved. It is a 0 credit course, so it's not something that you can take in conjunction with a master's or PhD program and receive credit towards those degrees. But it is something that provides you with skills within developing as a researcher within the scholarship for teaching and learning because of its hands-on, intensive, collaborative nature of the experience. It also has accreditation through the Staff and Educational Development Association, which is also known as CETA. It's a UK-based organization which gives a stamp of approval that this is a high-quality educational experience. So who is it for? It's the intended audience is for graduate students to supplement their own graduate studies and develop these skills as a solo researcher, enhance their own teaching practice by thinking about how they can research their teaching, and also research the learners that they're engaging with. At the same point in time, it's an attractive certificate for those who are higher educational professional staff who may be looking to do some of this research and to get that first opportunity to develop that skill set as well. It's intended for sessional instructors, faculty, or postdocs who are new maybe to SOTL and just want to get a formalized experience around developing the skill set that you would need to go on and conduct SOTL research. What is SOTL? You may be wondering, for those of you who haven't experienced it before or heard that term before. So SOTL is the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, and it involves post-secondary practitioners conducting inquiry into teaching and learning processes within higher education contexts. So it's really you asking questions about, I see something happening in my classroom, or I wonder if I do this, what will happen as a result in my classroom, or my learners are demonstrating these types of things. I wonder why that is, or is there a new approach that can be included in the classroom that's going to change the learner's perceptions or how they interact with material. So McKinney describes it as a systematic study of teaching and learning and the public sharing of that review through presentations, performance, or publications. And it's the overall goal is then to improve student learning and enhance the educational quality of higher education institutions. And so you'll see a lot of those elements integrated right into our certificate design if you are interested in taking it. So how does the certificate work? There's 3 main courses that must be taken sequentially and all within the same cohort in order to successfully complete the certificate. So course 1 is really about giving the learners the foundations and frameworks of the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. And it starts off with a 4-day face-to-face interaction. So that this year would be May 10th through 13th, and it's held at the University of Guelph. There are then the blue segments are online components of the certificate. So you'll see that it starts with a face-to-face component and ends with a face-to-face component, and the rest of the certificate can be completed completely online. So to allow that maximum flexibility for graduate students and professional staff or instructors from other institutions to be able to complete the certificate. So the remainder of course 1 looks at developing the skills and frameworks that you may need in order to conduct the SOTL research. Course 2 is all about conducting the SOTL research, so having a project on the go, being the principal investigators, really digging deep and conducting that research and executing it. And then at the end of course 2, there's a research progress update, pardon me. And finally in course 3, it's about determining where am I going to communicate these findings? Who is the intended audience? What is the best format for that communication? And wrapping it up with a conference presentation at our local Teaching and Learning Innovations Conference here at the University of Guelph in April 2017. So the Foundations and Frameworks course, that first course is really looking at the learners identifying and articulating their research question. What is it that we want to learn and study over the course of the year? So you'll be in a research team of 2 to 3 people and coming up with that question, doing background literature research in order to figure out, is it a novel question? Is it something that we can assess? Is the scope appropriate? And how would we go about doing that? With that in mind, then the researchers complete a research ethics board application, go through that process of ensuring that they're going to be able to conduct the research ethically, and then develop a research proposal to lay out what is the rest of the certificate going to look like. And then you're moving into course 2, where you begin to execute that research proposal. So now you're conducting the research, you are collaborating with your partners, but also with maybe another instructor or others that that you intended to do your research with, whatever classroom or group of learners that you're researching. This is your opportunity to really do the daily work of conducting that research and data collection and data analysis. At the end of that course, then you'll provide a research update to the rest of the cohort in order to gain feedback on where you're at so far and how you can continue to enhance the research that you've been conducting. Course 3 is all about communicating findings. So you'll develop a conference proposal for the capstone experience, which is delivering a conference at the Teaching and Learning Innovations Conference here at the University of Guelph. You'll identify potential sources or places for disseminating beyond that conference. Maybe your research lends itself well to trying to publish it within a journal or creating a manuscript for different locations. Or maybe it's a poster that would be sharing well, or maybe your SOTL research is useful to share back to your department. So maybe you create a presentation for your department about what you've learned throughout this experience. We also build in some time for the researchers to think, well, what are my future directions as a SOTL researcher now? Given that I have this year-long experience, I've been a principal investigator, I've figured out where I'm going to communicate, where do I want to continue to take these skills and where do you want to go? So the certificate is tangible in that way, where you're going to have a conference presentation, but also intended to be developmental, where you're thinking about and reflecting throughout the certificate, through our online activities, about what are the skills that I've been learned so far, what are the places, the methods that I still need to learn, or the approaches that I still wish to learn, and what are what does the literature say in particular fields that I can still continue to grow and maybe push this research to future options and future knowledge to generate. So important dates for those of you considering applying to know. March 1st is when applications close for the University of Guelph. March 15th, any University of Guelph applicants will be informed of the decision. April 1st, applications for any external applicants will close, with those decisions being communicated 10 days later. Please note that if you are an external applicant, we will be admitting on a rolling basis, so no need to wait for that April 1st deadline. If you apply much sooner, we can get a response back to you fairly quickly, and then you can book any travel requirements that you may need. April 29th, though, the final payment will be due for all participants, and then our Action Institute, the 4 days that kicks off the certificate, runs from May 10th through May 13th, and we would ask that anyone that is interested in the certificate to book off those dates now, because it is a mandatory 4-day face-to-face session. The final date of the capstone experience, which is the second face-to-face component that bookends the certificate, hasn't yet to be exactly determined, but it's generally around the end of April, and so you're looking at April 17th for your second face-to-face experience here at the University of Guelph. Tuition for the program is outlined there. Please note that it is our mandate to enhance SOTL research within the University of Guelph, and that's why our community members will pay a $100 deposit refundable upon completion. And you see the different tuition levels there for graduate students and non-graduate students who are outside the University of Guelph community. Finally, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them now via the chat, or you can always email me. I'm Clarke Mathany at cmathany@uaguelph.ca. We look forward to learning with many of you throughout the year, and seeing you as SOTL researchers down the road. Please do not hesitate to be in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.